inviting me. I'm so grateful. I really want to talk to our students here. I know you guys are quiet, so please take part in this. All we are talking about requires innovation and entrepreneurship. And I have high hopes from Pakistan next generation, and that's why I do these talks. So my journey is, yes, I'm a physician. I did a couple of residencies. I did an MBA from Oxford. Then I went to Stanford, did the AI program. Currently, I do management consulting. And I work for a New York-based firm, which is called GuidePoint. And I look at a lot of young entrepreneurs who their projects come, I consult on them, I give my opinion on them. So I look at these new startups at different value chains at different points. So today I really want you to understand what innovation is. How can you as future leaders solve Pakistan's problems? And that's very, very important. So I also want you to be interactive. Please ask me questions. I don't intend to stand up and read a slide. I really want your questions so I can clarify my own thoughts. So the idea of the talk is, what is innovation? What type of innovations are needed in healthcare? How can we get there? And how the world is doing it. There's no need to invent the wheel again. People have done this successfully. So I'm going to show you a couple of pictures because that might draw you in. Anybody, what is innovation? Before I start, some of the students want to say something. What is innovation? How do you define it? It's just not the idea, but there's some. Sorry. What's that? Sorry. Tahleek. What's tahleek? Takhleek. Yes, sorry. Okay. So does anybody recognize what this is? You all know it. It's a big machine, yes. You see a lot of things happening. There are two women standing next to it. Few years down the line, I mean, this was the original, how it was formed. Few years down the line, before I can show you that picture, it weighed 30 tons. You need almost an 8 marla plot to house it. It has 70,000 resistors, 10,000 capacitors, It was a huge machine. You need 6 people to run it. Then it became this. A decades down the line. Then it became in this form. Then, different formats came up. I think you probably all know what it is. So, but today, you all have it in your pockets. You know what that is? So, if I go back, this was the first computer which is only available at the top US. Initially, the military had it because they couldn't do the mathematical tasks. They needed a bigger machine. And somebody said, well, this is too big. It costs $2 million. Let's make something which doesn't do what that machine does, but does 80-90% of that job. So coming back to that, things got smaller. This is the first laptop. So we all have a smart computer in our pockets. Your iPhone is basically, or your Android phone is a smart computer. It doesn't do everything which your laptop does or your desktop does, but it does most of the things. It does 70 to 80% of that. So that is just one innovation cycle. Now, somebody said innovation is creating something new. Yes. You basically create and implement. You have to implement something as well. Ideas, products, processes, whatever. But the main theme is value creation. You have to create value. If you're not creating value, you're not innovating. And innovators, basically, they convert complicated and expensive products into simpler and cheaper products. Does anybody know what type of innovations there are? Okay, so there are basically mainly three types of innovations. One is a disruptive innovation. It disrupts the market. So you will create a brand new market. It will create a lot of jobs. It will add value to the economy. Do you all remember your Nokias? You had your Nokias, right? Then the smartphone came, the Apple's phone came. So that was a disruptive innovation. It transformed the market and built something completely new. It made Apple one of the biggest companies in the world. So, so disruptive innovations really transform economies, create new jobs, transform societies. The second type is sustaining innovations. Once you have innovated, you make it continuously better. iPhone 3, iPhone 4, iPhone 5, iPhone 6, iPhone 10, 11, 12, 13, whatever. So that is sustaining innovation. You are not adding huge amount of jobs, but you are making the product better. And as you will go up the ladder, the price will go up as well. So you develop a certain market. Then you have efficiency innovations. You basically produce the same thing at a large scale and much cheaper. To give you an example, China as a country is an example of efficiency innovation. They made everything so cheaply, flooded the entire world, and became a superpower. So are you clear on type of innovations, right? Disruptive, sustaining, and efficiency. Which types we need in healthcare? Any ideas? Correct, but which are more needed? I'm going to make a case more disruption, because the problem is that, and I'm going to show you a slide, healthcare is an industry, even in the US, because of state legislations, because of other issues, it hasn't really been disrupted that much. It is happening now, but it still hasn't been disrupted. So I'm going to give you a small example of one of the sharpest brain in Harvard on innovations, Clayton Christensen. This is his slide. So in 1960s, when the US manufacturers were building the top quality Cadillacs and Buicks and all that, this is what Toyota built. It went from A to B. It wasn't fancy. It didn't have leather seats or whatnot. It was very cheap. Then after a few years, they built this. Then they went up the ladder. And what's important is that US manufacturers were taking 60 days to build a car. And Toyota were doing that in 2 days. This is what they were making in 2 days. So it did the same job. It was much cheaper. It created a new market.